Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me this week on this week's Thankful Thursdays vlog, continuing the series on the Woman Who. I am Tanika Garrett, your lifestyle and step family recovery coach, and I am joined today by Miss Donna Martin, and today we're going to be talking about the woman who is kind of stuck in the middle. She's trying to decide, should she leave her relationship or should she stay? And this is particularly for the married women. You know, sometimes we get in that place where we feel like that we're stuck emotionally, and we feel like that sometimes things are not quite going the way that we want them to. So Ms. Donna is here to help us actually to elaborate more on that. Now, some things that I want you to be able to take away from this is, if you're that woman who is trying to decide, am I going to leave this relationship? I want you to ask yourself this question. Have you given everything into the relationship and not received anything back from it? Have you exhausted all of your options? Meaning that, have you maybe even considered or gone to counseling? Is there a line of communication between you and your spouse? What about the children? You know, have you thought about every different aspect, how it's going to affect you if you're deciding that you're going to leave? Now, on the other hand, if you're the woman who's deciding that, am I going to stay? I want you to consider those same things. Is there something that you're passionate about? Are you all still communicating? You know what? As a matter of fact, do you feel at home when you're home? That's something to consider, because if you're not comfortable in your everyday environment, then that may be a sign whether you should leave or stay. So let's welcome Miss Donna Martin. Donna, thank you so much for joining me on today's vlog. I would like for you to go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, and we could go ahead and get started.
Well, thank you for having me, Tanika. I am Donna Martin. I am a new first-time author, and I've written a book on the topic that we're talking about tonight, whether you should wait, stay, or go. And I've experienced both. Tanika only knows part of my story, because this is my second marriage. The first marriage, I decided to leave. I had exhausted, as Tanika asked, I felt like I had exhausted everything. I had done everything the best that I knew how. And my husband just continued to do more and more to tear our marriage down. So I finally decided, I sought God first too, because I took my vows seriously. I didn't just want to walk away. I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to be a quitter, even though the relationship was not really where it needed to be. I still trusted God, to do it. But when I really realized and I prayed, I said, God, I can no longer submit to a man that's not submitted to you.
Wow.
Prayed, I prayed, I said, God, I'm praying, that, you have everybody that has their opinion on whether divorce is right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like at that point I had come to a crossroads, and it was like, no matter what anybody else thought, God, I was concerned with God, what God thought. But I said, God, you know what? I can't endure this anymore. So I've got to go. And I did. And I said, God, if it's wrong, if it is wrong, I need forgiveness. Because I knew that at that point I could no longer endure and continue to go through the cycle that I was going through in that marriage, because it was going to end anyway. And I wanted to make sure it was on my terms and in a good place. And a lot of women, we stay for whatever the reasons. I felt like we think we can change men. We think we can make them by loving them and doing everything that we know how to do for them, that's going to make them one day magically wake up and think, oh, I need to treat her better. Some of them, it's not in them to do that, unfortunately. But it's sad that we pour so much into some people that really don't deserve it. And unfortunately, that's because we don't know who we are.
You said a mouthful right there, and I want to jump in real quick when you said that we don't know who we are. And that's one of the things that why I'm doing this series, as a matter of fact, because I want us as women to begin to be able to recover from those things that we still hold on to, especially for that woman who, like you said, you knew that you had to leave because you had already exhausted all of your options and that there was nothing else left. And another thing that I want to point out too is that we have to understand that anybody that's in a relationship, married, dating, or whatever the case may be, this is for everybody. Whatever your relationship is, please know and understand that no one can complete you but God. And I think that sometimes we get that mixed up, like, oh, my husband, he completes me, or the man says, oh, this woman completes me. No, nobody can do that but God. So we have to keep that in mind, that he is first and foremost in every aspect, even in relationship. He comes first. He's the one that can fill the void, that can do whatever it is that we need to be done. So those are some excellent points on the leaving aspect. Now, Donna, if you don't mind, what about that woman that's considering staying? So how does she feel? What might be her feelings for if she decides that she wants to stay in the relationship and then she's going to try to work it out?
Well, I think that, if we truly believe, we can't make our partners do right, but by seeking God, by trusting God, by believing God, and through prayer does change a lot of situations. We don't think it does, but if my point is this: if you decide to stay, you need to stand on the fact that you're going to stay no matter what. Mm-hmm. If you believe that God is going to change your marriage, then you need to allow him to change it. We have to understand that we didn't get to this place overnight, and it's not going to change overnight. And our conversation has to be what we want to be, not what we see, not what they say, not what they're doing, not what we hear, not how they're acting. Mm-hmm. If we're going to choose to stay in our marriages, we're going to have to stand on the word of God. We're going to have to seek God and trust God to change them. And we have to do our part too, because I don't care how bad a relationship is, it's not all one person's fault.
Right.
Sometimes it may be more of the other person's fault than one or the other, but it's not all the other person's fault. And sometimes I think in relationships, we tend to give the other person what we need and not necessarily what they really need. Because we really don't seek them we don't ask them what they really want. They don't express what they want or need from us. And all we do, we give them what we know how, what we think is right. And that really may not be their thing.
So we need to, in other words, what I hear you saying is that we need to make sure that we're communicating, that we're actually telling our spouse exactly what it is that we're feeling or what it is that we expect, to happen in the relationship.
Correct.
Awesome. I love it. Any other?
Okay. And we have to trust God.
You can go ahead.
What were you saying to me? Okay, I was saying that, we just have to trust God. If we're going to stick to it, no matter what it looks like, we have to stand on that God is going to change it. We have to believe that. We have to speak it constantly, daily, and do everything that we know how. And like you said earlier, suggest counseling. Sometimes you need a third party, somebody in it that doesn't have anything to lose or gain, by talking to the two of you. So that's my thing. Sometimes you need counseling is a good thing. Not all men you can get to go to counseling. So that would be a good suggestion. Counseling, if you can get them to go, but we just have to stand on what God says. We have to pray diligently. But my thing, I'm gonna tell you this, I guess leads kind of into my book. that was my prayer in my second marriage. That was my prayer. I pray, God, make him do this, make him act right, make him, do whatever it is I felt like I needed or wanted for him to do. And when I realized it wasn't just him that needed to be worked on, that it needed to be me also to be worked on, and that I needed to seek God for myself. When I learned that, one day I can remember saying, God, you know what? He's not paying me any attention. I'm not getting the affection I need. And God was like, you know what? The same things you desire from him, I desire from you. And God wants us to want him above anything and anybody else.
Yes.
And when I learned, and I've been separated from my husband for 3 years now, and I'm still waiting on God. By the time I moved out, I don't know what the decision will be. I'm not waiting on him to change. God has done a really deep change in me. Not perfect, but there's a lot of things that I've changed. The things that I desired before, I'd always say, well, God, why is he? How could you allow him to do this? Or, why is he acting like this? I'm only good to him. I treat him good. What we think? What's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be anything wrong with us. I just learned through this experience while I'm waiting to trust God more, to seek him more, or to seek the relationship that I was seeking in my husband, in him. A deep, intimate relationship that has changed my perspective totally on whether my marriage survives or not. I know that I have a relationship with God, that he'll never cheat on me, he'll never disrespect me, never, talk to me crazy. I can trust God to be everything I need him to be, and that's what we have to learn. We look for our husbands or our mates or whoever we're in a relationship to be who only God can be to us. And I learned that in learning that, I've learned how to be at peace, no matter what happens, no matter what he says, no matter what he does. I can truly say that I can be at peace because I have the peace of God concerning my relationship. No matter how it turns out, I know God has me. He's going to take care of me. He's going to provide for me. And I'm just thankful for that. I'm thankful to know that no matter what I have to let go of, no matter what I have to give up, that God's always there. He's always faithful. And I can always trust him to provide whatever I need.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to read this book. People, do you hear this woman? Oh my God. Oh, I love it. So let me wrap this up real quick because she done preached, baby. She done gave us all kind of pointers. I love it. But women, if you are deciding that you are ready to leave, know this, that you have to have exhausted all of your options. If you are deciding to stay, know this as well, that you cannot do this on your own. You know what? This phenomenal woman named Lady J. Giovanna Ellison, I'm pretty sure you probably heard of her by now. She said that the battle starts on your knees. So if you haven't been praying for your husband, then you need to be praying for him often. And you make sure that you do a self-heart check as well, that you don't have your motives and emotions all tangled up and out of whack too. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Donna, for joining us today on Thankful Thursday's blog. Listen, this is for the woman who is trying to decide if she's going to leave or stay. And I believe that you have your answer right here on this video. So you want to make sure that you continue to tune in next week for Thankful Thursdays for the Woman Who Miniseries. You got to tune in to know who I'm talking about. You don't know? Hey, we could be going higher. So it only gets better from here. And remember that in all things that we are to give thanks. Thank you all so much. Love you and enjoy the rest of your day.